everybody, it's Shayna. I am doing a face video today, obviously. I don't do these super often, but I'm going to try and do them a little more often than I have been. So my video today is about my word of the year. So if you haven't heard of word of the year before, basically what it is it's like a goal setting tool where you pick a word or words or a phrase or phrases that kind of define how you're going to approach decisions, goal setting, and things like that for your entire year. I forget exactly who started it, but I've seen a lot of resources out on Pinterest, on the internet in general for this. I even had a site that had like a whole workbook all about picking your word. But basically that's what it is you choose like one defining word. A lot of people pick things like grace or balance or things like that, which leading into the first year that I actually did this was 2018. 2017 was probably the hardest year of my entire life. I had my son, which was awesome, but I suffered from some very severe postpartum depression and anxiety, and that made it really difficult. I was very ragey. I was very emotional. I was all kinds of off kilter. Obviously, having a child changes everything about you. So I had a very, very difficult year. My family had a very difficult year because of that. So in 2018, I was feeling slightly better. So in 2018, I chose the word balance. It's a pretty generic word. Lots of people are using it. I have always kind of said that if there's one phrase I want to be remembered for, it is that life is all about balance. So I knew it's always kind of been important to me to try and find the balance for everything, but especially the year in 2018. I really wanted to try and find my balance again, find my new balance essentially, because my balance that worked before I had my kid would not work for after I had him as well. So I had to find my new balance. So basically with the word of balance, I wanted it to not only help me balance my emotions, I wanted to try and balance my body back out. I wanted to work on balancing my relationships with my friends, my family, and I really wanted to balance my work life, not only like my work life itself, but my work home life. Just basically everything in my life, I wanted to find what my balance was, or at least get a little closer to what my balance was. In 2018 though, I didn't do anything specific with my word. I didn't print out stickers or buy stickers for it, which they didn't really have a whole lot of stuff out for it, I don't think. But I didn't do any of those things. I basically didn't do anything specific to my word. I really just kept it in the back of my mind with all major decisions. And even some like minor decisions, I just kind of always kept it in mind that I wanted to find my balance. So I didn't do anything particular to my word. And it worked really well for me. I did work on getting closer to finding my balance. I don't think I found my balance in 2018, but I got closer to finding it, and that was what was important. I didn't want, like, I'm not setting hard and fast, I have to be done with balance by 2018, so I have to find my balance. Life doesn't work like that. We all know that. So my goal was to use that word as my focus for most of the things in my life through 2018, but then if I wasn't done with that word, I'd carry it into 2019. So I didn't just like drop the word and be done with it. I carried it into 2019 with me because I know that, like I said, life is all about balance. So I wanted to carry that word with me. Going to 2019, I really wanted to start making improvements. Now that I had kind of found what my balance was, I wanted to start making some improvements, but that was difficult because, you know, growing up and how we're raised, the decisions that we make as adults, the things that the knowledge that we have shapes the decisions that we make. and shapes are thinking. And I had a lot of habits, I guess it was habits, bad habits, that I really wanted to work on being better on. So things like, when I am upset in any way, shape, or form, I eat, for one, and for two, you can't even see that. Two, there we go, two, I buy things. That's my thing. I buy things and I eat. Because, well, the eating thing is just out of comfort, but I distinctly remember the very first time this happened, and I'm not like blaming my mom for this or anything, but when I was like 12, I think I was about 12, my dad had just died the year before. I was in very rough shape because I didn't know how to grieve because I was 12. I didn't know how to navigate that, and no one helped me navigate that, and I didn't know what to ask for help. So I was a very angry kid, and my mom and I would get into a lot of really big arguments. I realized later on that I blamed her for marrying my dad because he was so old, and why did you marry him knowing he would die, and blah, 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 blah. So we got into a really big argument, and it ended up being that she started the argument and she escalated the argument, and her way of saying I'm sorry was to take me shopping for clothes and shoes. Like, she bought me a whole new wardrobe, basically. That was her way of saying sorry. So every time we would get into a very big argument and it ended up either being that she started it or she escalated it, she would take me shopping. So yeah, basically that's where I learned that from, is, you know, whenever we would have a big argument like that, she would take me shopping, and then retail therapy did its thing and I forgave her and we moved on until the next fight. So it was, and that happened over the course of my entire 12 to like 18, where if we got into a big fight, she would take me shopping. And so it just made that connection that the key to feeling better is buying myself things. So it helps that I distinctly remember the moment that it happened, because I could go back and realize that that is not how I should be handling things. The food thing's a little bit more difficult because I like food, but the other things that I do are like yelling or overreacting when I'm upset, or taking it out on others when I'm stressed, stuff like that. All those bad habits that I just knew I wanted to improve on, but I really wanted to reframe how I thought about things to try and get to the reason why I act that way, so that now knowing why I act that way or what my triggers were, I could then be better at fixing those things or being less that way, I guess. So basically, I talked to my husband about this a few times too, but we basically went through our finances. We went through our finances, all of our finances for 2017, 2018. Yeah, because this is my 2019 word. So yeah, we went through all of our finances for 2018 and we categorized them based on if they were food purchases, if they were hobby purchases, because we both have some hobbies, or if they were anything uncategorized that was not budgeted for in some fashion. And then I did things like gas, groceries, and then I have a PR budget that I set for myself for my PR shops. But we ended up spending an astronomical amount on stuff we didn't need. Like, so all in all, it ended up being almost $13,000 worth of shit that we did not need to be purchasing. And that hit really, really hard, because that's like a car. That's a car. That's like a decent car. So that really hit me hard. I didn't like cry or anything, but I felt awful. Awful. Because a lot of that was my contributions to that, right? I mean, we both did a lot of things that we probably shouldn't have last year as far as money-wise, but that hit really hard. So we made a plan, set some goals for what we wanted to do in 2019. This was all in like January. And we worked really hard on achieving those goals. And we did achieve our biggest goal, which was going to Disney World. We booked the trip in February. So this was right around when we were doing these conversations and stuff. We booked the trip in February and we successfully saved for it. I mean, we did have quite a few missteps along the way where we made really bad decisions with the money that we could have had set aside. But in the end, we did make it work. We were able to go to Disney World, all three of us, and we had a time. But I was really happy that we were able to make that work, and I found that if we have a set goal to save for, we can save fairly well. Well, not fairly well. We can save. Not gonna say we did it well, because we did have quite a lot of missteps on the way, and we saved for a couple other things as well. Also had some missteps on the way to those things, so we're still kind of learning, but we made it happen, and that felt really good. So, I also tried to start eating healthier, and trying to kind of incorporate workouts in. I failed on the workouts. I really have to get better at not telling myself no. Not allowing myself to tell myself no, because I can talk myself out of basically anything. And the laziness always wins over. So that's something I have to work on. But so I'm not necessarily working out right now, but I did try for a little bit. And the other thing is that although we're kind of failing right now, we have kind of worked on eating better, trying to incorporate more certain kinds of meals that are a little healthier than what we've been eating, trying to obviously eat at less, which ties into the finances thing of, you know, spending money on something that's just going to exit your body in like 24 hours is just really always hard for me to spend a lot of money on. But I like food, so I can usually talk myself into it. But yeah, so we're making steps towards these things. It's not going to be done by 2019. I'm not going to be done with this word by 2019, which I haven't even told you. My word for 2019 was revise. Based on my 2018 word of balance and trying to make improvements. It wasn't even that I wanted to make improvements or changes. It's that I wanted to revise my thinking around the issues that I was having. So I wanted to revise the thought of when I'm upset, I buy things. I wanted to revise that. And when I'm upset, I need to find healthier, more balanced, less spendy ways to help me feel better. When I am upset, I need to find a way to not eat us out of house and home and maybe have more water or something. Like, I just really wanted to reframe and revise my thinking. So I picked that word. I picked a really nice quote to go with it. I actually have it in my planner. I did also make a little, I don't know if you can see that, the lighting is really bright, but it basically says, whoop, there we go. Maybe, I don't know. I made this, it's vellum, laminated vellum. I just kind of printed something out, but it says revise, to alter something in order to make corrections, improve, or update, which is one of the dictionary definitions. And then in my money section, my finance section, I don't think you'll, okay, there we go. So it says, be ready to revise any system, scrap any method, abandon any theory if the success of the job requires it. By Henry Ford. And it obviously has my word revise in there. And I thought that that was a really good way to kind of define how I wanted to approach my word. Was I really wanted to be able to scrap my previous methods, knowing that they're probably not working, reframe my thinking and my theories about things, throw out my old thinking, and try to make new connections and new habits. So that's where I was going with 2019. I have not fully succeeded at that, but again, like 2018, I brought balance with me into 2019. So throughout everything, I have thought about keeping my balance and revising my thinking. And I think I'm going to take both of those words on into 2020, which can get kind of lengthy. Like, I only focus on the word that I pick, but I still carry those words with me in the back of my mind. So, you know, with certain things, I need more balance than I do revision, or in other things, I need vice versa. So it's going to be kind of the same thing. I'll just always keep them in mind when I need them to. I also, for 2019, I had no written goals. I had no hard and set things and ways to implement my word into my life. It was just something I kept in the back of my mind and just let it be that. And I didn't do anything specific except for the most I did was make those dashboards, those vellum dashboards. That's about the most I did to specifically remind myself of my word. So, going on into 2020 now. So, my 2020 word, based off of balance, revise, I picked simplify. Because now that I have tried to kind of revise my thinking on things and I've kind of found my balance, I thought that simplify was a really good segue to kind of reinforcing those two things. Our house is cluttered. Again, I'm not blaming anybody, but my grandma, my mom's mom, she is a hoarder. They live downstairs in my old bedroom in my parents' house. It's a very big bedroom. It's the biggest bedroom in the house. It's the size of the living room upstairs. And you cannot get through it because they have so much stuff in it. They also have a storage unit full of random stuff that she'll never see or use. She would buy all these things because she would put them in balikbayan boxes to send to the Philippines, which is basically a gigantic box of goodies that you send to your family in the Philippines, or take with you if you visit. And she would never send them because my family didn't want them because they were like 25-cent garage sale things that they didn't want to wear because I guess they weren't that hard up for money or clothes. So she just kind of kept buying things. And I remember we would always go to garage sales because my grandparents used to not work. So they would watch me after school and we would go to garage sales in the summer. All kinds of garage sales, but never in our neighborhood. Never in our neighborhood because she didn't want the neighborhood to judge her. So we would always go to other neighborhoods in our same city. And it was fun for me as a kid, but I didn't realize how much stuff she was buying that she never did anything with. Some of those things from all that time ago, I mean, I'm talking 20 some years ago, she probably still has because she never gets rid of anything. They used to have a little tiny bedroom upstairs before I moved out, and I'm not kidding you, there was a path. There was a path to the bed, and then there was only enough room for my grandma to sleep on the bed, and my grandpa slept on the floor. There was just a little tiny, and he's a tall man. There was a little tiny space for him on the floor by the bed. That's where he slept. And it was really upsetting to me because, for one, I felt like they were disrespecting my parents' house. I understand that they're hurt my mom's parents, but I felt like that was a massive disrespect from my parents. But for two, I just felt it was really like, even as a kid, I felt it was really sad because I knew that there was some kind of reason why she wasn't letting these things go and couldn't stop buying these things. So my mom is better. She doesn't have as bad of a problem, but she still keeps things that she does not need. And she knows she doesn't need. They've kind of gone through and gotten rid of some things over the years, but when I was growing up, there was a lot of stuff in the house that they did not ever use. So I was always used to kind of having clutter around me. So fast forward to today, we have all kinds of stuff. We are not, it's cluttered. It's cluttered. But it's not that awful. Depending on where you look. My husband's right over there, so he's laughing at me. But it is really bad. I consider it to be really bad. And I really want to curb that behavior before it gets really, really bad. So, I really want to simplify the items in our house. I don't want to, I know minimalism is kind of a buzzword right now. I don't necessarily want to go the minimalist route. I do really want to declutter and pare down the stuff that we have. You can't see it, but right here I have, this used to be a wet bar right here, and there's cabinets. And this whole cabinet section, we took off the doors because I am a collector of Transformers, like the cartoon and the TV show. I am obsessed. And I have a whole huge collection of Transformers stuff up here. I don't need it. I don't play with these things. Why do I have them? I get having a collection and making me happy, but at this point it's just clutter. So even tonight today in my local moms group, I actually posted, because it's Christmas time, so I posted asking if there are any moms with kids who like Transformers. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sell them for like cheap, for like 10, 15 bucks, or if I'm just going to give them away just to get them out of my house. But I really want to pare down this collection. It makes me happy to have all these things, but I never look at them anymore. And it really is just, if you ever played The Sims, I did a lot. There's that environment, what am I saying? What is it? The environment. Oh my gosh, Kate could be able to tell me right away.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it is. But there's basically like social and hunger, you know, those like, I don't know, health items kind of a thing. One of them is environment, because your environment totally affects your mood. It affects your ability to do things. And at this point, this clutter above my desk right here is affecting me now. So I think I'm going to get rid of a lot of it. Okay, well, not a lot of it. I'm going to get rid of some of it. I kind of gave it a glance over a little bit ago, and I was like, you know, there's actually not a whole lot here I really want to get rid of, but there are some smaller items that I kind of want to get rid of I don't really need. So I'm going to start the process of getting rid of some of these Transformers, because I don't need this many Optimus Primes. Seriously. I don't need this many Optimus Primes. I'm telling myself this, pretending this is a mirror. Anyway. Planner stuff. I do not need all the sticker kits in the world. I do not need every pretty pen. I don't need every pretty marker. I don't need all these things in order to make my planner happy. I do enjoy weekly sticker kits. I do enjoy all those things. So I really want to find my balance and find what works for me and what is kind of my minimum, where I'm not bringing too much into my home as clutter that I'm not going to use, but I still want to get some things that make me happy, because I do think, you know, you still need stuff to make you happy in that sense. So I have even revised, even from my last video where I did my 2020 prep, the prep itself is going to stay the same, and I'm so mad because I printed the inserts already, but I actually think I'm changing my system again. Right now I am using my Gilio Pocket XL rings and a Tool Junior notebook, and I was like, I'm carrying both of these things and that just seems like such a waste. Why don't I do what I've always said I didn't want to do and go to a personal size? Because then I can carry one planner and have everything kind of in the, it's kind of a median size between these two, and have everything in there, and I won't need these two. So I think I might be switching to personal, which makes my friends laugh because I always talk about how much I can't stand personal size. But I think it's going to end up being the more beneficial size for me next year. I'm also going to change up my planning style quite a bit so that I stop buying as many sticker kits and stuff. So that'll be a thing. Stay tuned for that, because I'm going to do a whole setup video. Hopefully, I don't know, I haven't even bought the personal planner, so we'll see if I even get to do that. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling now. One of the other things I wanted to do is get better and more minimal storage. I don't want to just shove things in bins and kind of put them out of mind's view so that I ignore or I forget that I have them, kind of a thing. But I do want to be more mindful of how I store things more efficiently, to maybe get things in the right places so I know what I have. I just want to be able to know what I have. I may have some kind of bins or something and put some things in there, but at least I will know that that bin is for something. So I'm really just hoping to be able to get more of a, by the end of 2020, not like through 2020, but before the end of 2020, I really want to have a better system, a better storage and organizational system for dealing with all the stuff that we have. And then maybe it'll look a little nicer and it'll make us a little happier too, because honestly, like, you can tell when I'm not feeling well. You can mentally, like, you can tell when I'm not feeling well mentally because the clutter abounds in the house. Like, stuff gets piled up in places, and it's not that my husband's not doing things, it's that things just kind of get left there and he's having to pick up the slack for me in other places, so it gets ignored by both of us. So it's really interesting to me that our house ends up becoming a very visual representation of how I feel inside. Because if I am not feeling well inside, everything else in the house will be a mess. And that's really hard for me because now I'm seeing the mess and I know I should be dealing with it, and I know that I just can't bring myself to do it, so then I feel bad about it and it just makes me feel worse, and it's just this never-ending cycle. So I really want to find a better way of like dealing with paperwork and dealing with things, you know, trying to do more of the like one-touch system where you literally go put it away. You don't put it somewhere to go put it away. You just go put it away. So I really want to try doing stuff like that so that maybe we can minimize the clutter and I won't feel so, what's the word I'm looking for? Inadequate. I won't feel so inadequate about everything. Because I feel that, and then seeing all the stuff that isn't getting done just makes me feel even more inadequate. So I'm even thinking about doing little things like I have 2 monitors. I'm considering getting just one bigger monitor because the 2 monitors is starting to get a little too much for me, so I'm thinking about just doing one bigger monitor. So that would minimize some of the clutter I have here on my desk as well. We're also talking about doing, I'm not like a proponent of Dave Ramsey and his stuff, but I do really like his baby step system. So we are planning on starting the baby step system, hopefully at the end of December here. So we're going to do baby step 1 where you get the emergency fund built. And then after that, you start doing the debt snowball or debt avalanche, whichever one. So that's paying down your debt. And so that in and of itself is simplifying, because that's not only simplifying less bills, less debt, less worries about money. Like the more things we pay down, the better. And then having that emergency fund also is just smart, because then, you know, we had started building it. I had about 500 in there because your emergency fund is supposed to be about $1,000. I had 500 in there and my brakes went out and it was $450. And for the first time in both of our lives, we had that money to be able to fix my unexpected brake change. And that was really nice to have. And then we powered all our money to Disney. So we had to kind of push it off. But starting either the end of December or the beginning of January, we are going to start putting money into the emergency fund. And then once that is done, it is off to debt. Off to paying our debts. I'm really hoping at the very least, to get the majority of our credit card debt paid off by the end of 2020, but things happen and that may not happen, so it's not like a hard and fast rule that I'm like aiming towards, but I am aiming towards it. Like, so then in addition to trying to pay down our debt, having the emergency fund pay down our debt, in addition to that, we really want to work on doing some sinking funds. So we kind of went through a list of the things that we think would be good candidates for having a sinking fund, and we kind of figured out rough amounts and stuff. We need to figure out still how we're going to break it down, when it's due, stuff like that. But it's basically things like we're both gamers. Both my husband and I are gamers, so we kind of talked about what games we might want to get next year, how much those are going to cost, when we would buy them, and then we can kind of divvy up that money throughout the year instead of having to come up with the money right beforehand. So we would just kind of have like a video games sinking fund that we just kind of have sitting there. Or like Christmas money for next year. If we estimate about how much we need for next year, we can start putting that money away in smaller increments throughout the year instead of having to come up with it all closer to Christmas. So it's things like that. I really like the idea of sinking funds, so I'm going to try doing that as well. I'm really excited about it. Don't know how excited my husband is. Probably meh, but I am excited. That's all that matters. He smiled. And the other thing is that I really want to have, I'm actually going to in contrast to my last 2 years of doing like a word of the year, I am actually going to be setting some goals for myself this year. So things like, I'm going to have to get like an actual estimate of if we could even do it, but I want to be able to pay off, obviously, the majority of our credit card debt this year, or at least half of it maybe. I don't know. It depends on how it would work out. But I want to pay down a lot of our credit card debt. So that would be a goal for specifically 2020. And I just want to set some really hard set goals. So I really want to get my Transformers collection pared down. It's kind of a generic goal, but it's also things like I really want to go through and declutter our closet, our basement, our garage, because those are the three areas that I think are the worst right now. So I really want to go through and declutter all those spaces, get rid of things, toss things out that we can't use, maybe sell some things, whatever, get it out of our house, and then we can focus on the things that actually we actually want to focus on. So I am literally taking the word simplify and applying it to basically every aspect of my life in any way I possibly can, but I am going to set some goals for myself. And I already have some goals, so like little things like I want to go down to one monitor for my computer. I want to get rid of a lot of my Transformers. We're actually planning on getting rid of a lot of our movies, like the DVD cases and stuff, just because we don't need them. We rarely watch movies anymore. I really want to do, ideally no sticker kits, full sticker kits at all next year for my main planner. In my Hobo Weeks, that is one thing. My Hobo Weeks is going to be stickered. That's where I'm going to get all my stickers from. And that's my memory planner. But my main everyday carry planner, I'm going to go more minimal. And I actually have some, oh gosh, I can't remember who I bought these from. Oh, Infinite Lotus. I bought these from Infinite Lotus. They're the 2019 personal size inserts because I really wanted to try the size out before I did it. And you're not going to be able to see it because this light is so darn bright. No, you're not gonna be able to see it. But this is like just pen and paper. Basically doing a bullet journal system in a week on 2 page. And it really, really worked for me. It worked. I didn't need the sticker kit. It made me happy just looking at it on its own. Which normally I'm the kind of person where I won't look at it if it's not cute. But I think that if my overall planner is still kind of cute, I can do with the minimal inserts and then not have to buy sticker kits. I still want to use like character stickers and stuff. I have all these character stickers and things here. And I could even do like other stickers, like more functional basic stickers and stuff like that. Headers and things. I can do stickers in it. I just don't want to have to buy a full kit because that just gets expensive. So I'm limiting myself next year, I think, to character stickers and more basic functional stickers like corner boxes, stuff like that. Headers and things. And then my Hobo Weeks will be Hobo Weeks kits. Or things like, I'm considering kind of taking a cue from my friend Cassie, Ella Bella Plans. If you've watched our plan with us, I don't remember if she went over it or if she did that after that. I think she did this after that, so she didn't go over it. But if you go to her Instagram, she has talked about her meal plan. It's like a 5-week, I can't remember how many weeks, but she has a meal plan basically set out so that she doesn't have to think about what meals are happening that day. She just knows what meals are happening, and it's kind of like a rotating thing. Well, I'm probably not going to go that far because we don't, both my husband and I work outside of the home, and we don't get home until dinner time, so it's hard for us to cook a different meal every day, so we tend to cook more like crock pot meals and stuff that last us the entire week, so all we have to do is heat up leftovers. Or assemble a few things. But I want to take that same basic principle and come up with some like meal plan a month ahead of time. So that in that month we don't have to make decisions on what we're eating, we just go buy the stuff and make it happen. And that is just less brain power to have to use to try and figure out what we're going to eat. It's just one of those little checklist items that is constantly on your thing. I can even come up with the grocery lists ahead of time and we can go off of that and then we can be set for the month. So it's little things like that. I've got, some goals like that, that I'm really hoping to adhere to, I guess, or complete. And then also I really want to have an accountability partner or partners. So I have talked to one of my friends, Sakina, Kina Planner Girl on Instagram, and we are trying to come up with something, kind of an accountability thing, because we really both want to focus on our word for next year and make our goals that we're going to set for each other or for ourselves happen. And that is really hard to do when you're doing it all by yourself. And have nobody to kind of check up on you and make sure you're doing what you know you should be doing, but maybe can't make yourself do. So accountability partners is really, I think, important for achieving goals, or even just to support you. Just to support you is good enough as well. So those are kind of all the ways that I'm going to implement my word for next year. I'm obviously doing a little more this next year than I have in the past 2. And I'm kind of excited for it, but even if I go back to not doing this like intense goal setting thing, I think the word of the year is really beneficial. I just think it's really neat to kind of have a purpose for your, not a purpose, but have like a focus for your year. Obviously that focus can change. Things change, life happens, but you know, having kind of a mindset for your year. And I get you can do it at any time. It doesn't have to be the year, but it's just really nice to have that start and end point of 2020. But I just think it's really neat to have that and to kind of lead your year that way. And to try and make yourself be, as you know, a better person as much as you can. So that was a very, very long rambly video about my words of the year. Hopefully it helped you. Maybe you haven't done a word of the year and you kind of want to start. I am always available for questions. I am not like an expert on anything at all, but I do know people who have been doing this for a while, maybe do it a little more intentionally than I do. There's resources and stuff to be able to find like what you should use your word, what you really want to focus on. Because what I thought I wanted to focus on is not what I ended up picking my word as. So what I thought I wanted to focus on ended up kind of slightly changing, and in one moment I was like, no, I want it to be this. It's simplify. That is my word. So yeah, I am always available for that. I hope this helped you in some way, whether you have done a word or you have not, whether you're planning on doing one or you are not. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate every video that you watch, just spending a little bit of time with me. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe, and if you want to know when I post, hit the little bell for notifications. I will see you in my next video.